This video is sponsored by Manscaped. All right, I've been wanting to make this video for a while, but what a better time to post a support weapon tier list than right when the escalation of freedom and the Freedom's Flame Warbond is being added to the game in 1 week. Because I think the amount of support weapons you can bring to fight against the bugs is better than ever. All of them, except maybe like 3, are pretty viable at the hardest difficulty. And with the new update and Super Helldive coming out in 1 week, that way I'll be able to compare the next tier list to this one and see which support weapons are still holding their own against the new enemies. Now, not only that, this isn't simply just gonna be a tier list. I'll be letting you guys know what build I usually run with each of these: primary, secondary, grenade, and the 3 other stratagems. I'm sure that you guys have your own builds with your favorite support weapons on this list. Comment them down below. But with that being said, please watch through each of these and the build I run alongside of it, because I'm sure there's a support weapon that you think is trash against bugs. But maybe if I show you some of these combinations, you can then go try it out yourself and find out that it's a better support weapon to bring against the bugs than you thought. It might even be your new favorite. Ultimately, I think like 90% of the support weapons are viable so that Helldivers can save Super Earth citizens from tyranny. And while we are saving Super Earth citizens from tyranny, Manscaped is saving your balls. So today we're embarking on a critical mission showing you guys the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, featuring the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra Electric Trimmer. Prepare for grooming precision with dual sense skin safe blades. The first one with longer, wider, rounded teeth to cut through the thicker hair. Then you just pop it right out and insert the aluminum blade. And this one is designed to get a sleek and utterly bare finish. Super easy to use right there. They're also including the Weed Whacker 2.0, which takes out nose hairs and ear hairs. Both of these support weapons are USB-C chargeable, and they are both waterproof. Still works just fine. This package also includes the Crop Soother, which you can think about this like the perfect stim booster for a Super Helldive difficulty shave, basically for your giant Helldiver gonads. They're also including the Crop Preserver ball deodorant to keep everything fresh once you're finished down there. This package also includes 2 free gifts, the first of which is the Boxers 2.0, which are the pinnacle of comfort inside that armor, and they come with a jewel pouch. And the second free gift with the package is the Shed 2.0, which helps you organize and keep all this gear in one place. So join the 10 million other Helldivers who put their confidence in Manscaped. Help them liberate your balls from tyranny. Head over to manscaped.com and get your hands on this Performance Package 5.0 Ultra and use my promo code to get 20% off plus free international shipping. And trust me when I say that your balls will thank you. All right, few things we should mention quickly about the tier list before we get into it. Number 1, my tier lists are not S through F tier. I like to rank my guns based on which role they fulfill. I think that all 4 of these roles are valuable on a squad of Helldivers, and the ones on the left are gonna be the most powerful, and the ones on the right are gonna be the weaker ones, and then just the very few straight up bad ones will go in the trash tier. I think it's only 3 of them. The second thing is, like I said, I will give you guys my builds that I pretty much like to use for each of the support weapons, but I do switch it up from time to time. As long as you kinda notice that I pick each thing for a specific reason, you can replace those with similar options. You don't gotta run my specific loadout. Make it work for yourself. I also just thought it would be a fun idea to do 1 build for every support weapon all inside of 1 video. So first up for the machine guns, and honestly my favorite against bugs this patch, is the Stalwart. With the increased amount of mobs and less Bile Titans, Stalwart's feeling really strong right now with an increased amount of fun since there are many more targets to hit with this. The only downside of the Stalwart is if you land on a Bile Spewer map, you'll be wishing you had the medium machine gun instead. I am curious to see how it's gonna stack up against the Impaler tentacles, whether those will be light armor pen or medium armor pen. Maybe the medium machine gun will just outpace this next patch, but at least on this patch, with the increase of Charger Behemoth spawns, we are using the simple strategy of bringing a Scorcher and popping any Charger butt in 9 shots. Now, I've showed this tech in previous videos, but basically you can dive through stun grenades. So throw a stun underneath the Charger, dive past the Charger, get around to his ass, and clap it with the Scorcher. You just need to learn the timing. Now for the secondary, we're obviously using the grenade pistol, and for stratagems, my first pick is the supply pack. I just really love being greedy with this thing. You'll see it a lot in this video. Scorcher's kind of ammo hungry as well, and I always turn my Stalwart up to burr and just spray bullets even when it's unnecessary, just to max out as many voice lines per second as I can get. So that leaves us with 2 stratagems, and I bring 2 that can deal with Bile Titans. I recommend 500 kg and Orbital Precision Strike, because these can also pair with stun grenades to take out small groups of mobs, or even the objectives like the Shrieker Nest and the Spore Towers. And obviously if you get Orbital Scatter, which sucks, just go ahead and bring the EAT, or the Commando for what it's worth, or you could even go with a flex slot of something like rocket pods. Stalwart, obviously going into the mobbing tier. I have done solo Helldives with this specific loadout. It is absolutely viable this patch. And next up for those Bile Spewer maps, we've got the medium machine gun like I mentioned a second ago. The buff to just machine gun damage, as well as the spare mag for the medium machine gun, honestly makes this thing really strong against bugs right now, because it doesn't require the supply pack anymore. It doesn't necessarily pop charger butt super fast, so I would still recommend the Scorcher with it, but I wanted to mix it up and actually bring the Eruptor for bug holes, and then I get to use the Pocket Shotty, which is very fun and kind of swaps out as it's still a secondary weapon, because let's be real, the Stalwart is our primary in this loadout. Now, what I think is really awesome and fun about this loadout is we get to bring the Laser Buddy backpack instead of a supply pack, which again, helps us when we need to get a reload off. And between the medium machine gun and the laser backpack, you can get pretty big kill streaks pretty frequently. It is a lot of fun. And then the same 2 stratagems for Bile Titans, 500 kg and Precision Strike. Now, like I said, the medium machine gun is good for Bile Spewers, but notice this is sort of my Bile Spewer plus utility sort of tier. The medium machine gun definitely feels more like a mobbing weapon still, and I just like the Stalwart more than it, but let's be real here. Again, if it's a Bile Spewer map, you definitely want the medium machine gun over the Stalwart. Alrighty, quickly moving on, let's just top off the machine guns. It is time for the HMG. Now this gun, unfortunately, you are required to run the supply pack, which ain't a big deal because it's just a great stratagem anyway. It's only got 75 in the mag and 2 spare magazines. This gun is insanely strong. It literally, 2 taps Brood Commander heads. Really great against Bile Spewers, and it actually can take down Shrieker Nests and Spore Towers. It is pretty dang good at taking out charger butts. I honestly recommend running this on the lowest fire rate instead. So instead of the burr fire rate, we're gonna go with the Daka fire rate. The only thing you probably want higher RPM for is charger butts. So we've got the HMG and the supply pack. Again, you're gonna see a trend when we need Bile Titan killing stratagems. We got the 500 kg and the Precision Strike. Otherwise, you could just go with rocket pods, EAT, Commando, stuff like that. And you can always pair these strikes with the stun grenades if you want to take out small groups, or even if you get a couple chargers to ram into each other. And in general, I have been on a Scorcher kick against bugs because of all the chargers. Scorcher literally pops charger butts like crazy. But again, I just wanted to mix it up. I brought the Eruptor and the Pocket Shotty with this loadout again, and this loadout in particular felt pretty strong. The HMG buff made it a supreme bot weapon, and HMG is my favorite weapon against automatons, but the buff to it definitely made it strong enough to bring against bugs when it felt horrendous the patch before this one. And this one is gonna be the first gun in the Bile Spewer tier, since it can also take out those Spore Towers. If you end up in a Bile Spewer map, you will not regret bringing this thing with you. You will feel like literally a savior for your teammates who forgot their Bile Spewer weapons at home. All right, so now for the Railgun, another gun that got buffed against bugs, and this is gonna be the first one in the all-rounder tier, because it's just good at generally a lot of different things. It's good against Bile Spewers, it has a good charger kill, paired with the right stratagems, you can find it killing Bile Titans. Now, the Railgun alone can technically kill Bile Titans in 6 shots at about 90% charge. And I say technically because Bile Titan heads are a little bit buggy, so it will usually take more shots than that. And I honestly recommend just spamming your stratagems against them. You're gonna see we're bringing 2 low cooldown or high usage stratagems. the Eagle Strafing Run, and the Orbital Gatling Barrage. Now, everybody's been using Orbital Gatling Barrage, and that's because it's great for mobbing, but it also kind of peppers all the heavy enemies. It peppers chargers, peppers Bile Titans, and same thing with the Eagle Strafing Run. Now, the Eagle Strafing Run is nice because while it only peppers those enemies, you can actually pretty much target it. It's much easier to get the Strafing Run to hit a Bile Titan head or a charger leg that you've already shot a couple times with the Railgun, and then it can finish them off. Each time the Gatling Barrage or the Strafing Run hits a Bile Titan or a charger, whatever part it hits, consider it as like 1 to 3 railgun shots. It depends how many of the hits land. And you basically want to combine everything together and constantly be cycling your low cooldown stratagems. Now, the difference here is the primary I'm using, which is the Pummeler. Now, I used to run the Pummeler a lot with the Senator, and between these two, I would take out all light and medium enemies. But we don't need a Senator because the Railgun is amazing at taking out medium enemies. And that's the beauty of this build. It is kind of a jack of all trades sort of build. And I think once they fix the bugginess with Bile Titan heads, I will try out this build solo. Now, unfortunately, by the time they do that, the Impaler will be in the game, and we don't know if the Railgun's gonna be good against the Impaler. Now, when it comes to the secondaries and the grenades, obviously, grenade pistol, stuns, great combo. And then we, in the last stratagem slot, again, the supply pack, just because it helps keep you in that all-rounder slot, keep your railgun ammo active at all times. And this build has been a ton of fun for me this patch. It's good against any long bug mission, no matter what the enemy seed is, bile spewers, no bile spewers. It really feels effective right now as an all-rounder setup. So now on to the Arc Thrower. Now, I said that most support weapons have been feeling pretty good against bugs right now, but not the Arc Thrower, and I'm actually gonna make a brand new tier for it called If You Want to Run an Electric Run, or an Electric Gun, Bring the Blitzer instead. Literally, like, the Arc Thrower, it needs something, man. They should revert it to launch, honestly, in my opinion. And I ran this a couple times during the stream when we were doing this, and it just felt like a long match of suffering. I ran it with the Laser Buddy, the Autocannon Sentry, the Rocket Sentry, Scorcher, stun grenades, and grenade pistol. I'll be honest with you guys, it just does not feel good right now. It doesn't kill charger behemoths fast at all. It's not bad for mobbing and bile spewers. Doesn't take out any objectives. Don't even try to use this thing against Bile Titans, there's no point. I would be happy if any of you Arc Thrower enjoyers this patch, post your builds in the comments down below, but I think most people are just gonna agree this gun ain't it right now. All right, now it's time for the Flamethrower, the supreme support weapon against bugs. Let's just speed run a build. This one is going at the top of the all-rounder tier. It's good at so many different things. I just wanted to have fun with this one because we all know how good it is against bugs. So I figured, since this is the king of fire, what better element to pair with fire than lightning? So I'm running the Blitzer, the primary weapon better than the Arc Thrower, combined with fire. So we got fire and lightning, just like Firelord Ozai. This gun has the benefit of being pretty decent against bile spewers because it'll stagger them, but just also having infinite ammo and staggering all the other enemies as well. It's pretty solid for stalkers. And I also wanted to run this with the Laser Buddy because the Laser Buddy is great with the Blitzer, but it's also good at keeping your kill streaks active with the Flamethrower. Grenade pistol, stun grenades, keep it simple. 2 anti-Bile Titan stratagems, Precision Strike, 500 kg, and we all know the Flamethrower poops on chargers, so that's why we're all bringing it. All right, so now on to what I think is the most underrated gun for bugs, and I have been preaching this, but that is the Autocannon. The Autocannon has a pretty solid charger kill. I think it's like 3 or 4 shots to the butt. It is insanely good against bile spewers. It can take out Shrieker nests and Spore Towers from across the map. It takes out bug holes. It legit just has so much utility against bugs. It is pretty decent at tighter groups of mobs. Now, I'm pairing this with the Incendiary Breaker since I think this is just a very powerful combo. Our Autocannon takes out bug holes, so that means I also get to bring the Pocket Shotty, which will stagger the stalkers for me if they get too close to shoot the Autocannon at them. No need for the pummeler and stunning them. But speaking of stuns, we will use stun grenades because we got the autocannon for bug holes. We don't really need a real grenade. Now for this build, I wanted to maximize my autocannon, so I also brought the autocannon sentry. The autocannon sentry is good for groups of mobs, but it can also kill bile titans and chargers. I also brought the orbital Gatling barrage again, since it's just great against mobs, and again, bile titans and chargers. Now in this game, in this footage, I did bring the 500 kg, but instead of the 500 kg, I would recommend the rocket pods. The rocket pods have a third charge compared to the 500 kg, and you can pretty much consistently get the rocket pods to crack open bile titan backs, and then what you do is shoot the back of the exposed flesh with the autocannon, and it will finish off a bile titan very, very quickly. Now the autocannon is going at the top of the bile spewer spore bug hole map because it does all three of these things, unlike any other weapon that's going to be in here. Every other weapon in here only does two of these things. It just has insane utility, and it is honestly still truly underrated because most people just think this is the best bots weapon, but it's also an insanely good bugs weapon. Now, we mentioned that strat with the rocket pods and shooting the autocannon to finish off the bile titan. You know what else does that? The little brother to the autocannon, and that is the grenade launcher. Now, the autocannon's nice because it can take out spore towers from across the map, but the grenade launcher can't do that. However, what the grenade launcher can do is everything else the autocannon can do, except for the spore tower thing, but the grenade launcher is much better against mobbing. Now, the grenade launcher also requires the supply pack, so that's our second stratagem, and I was pairing this with the blitzer again because I was just really enjoying the blitzer when I was getting all these clips. It's a really fun weapon. You could just bring the firebreaker if you want to, and it's probably stronger with a grenade launcher than the blitzer. But other than that, bring your two favorite anti-bile titan stratagems to round off this kit. For me, my two favorite are just precision strike and 500 kg. But again, like I mentioned with the bile titan back, maybe bring rocket pods over 500 kg just because it gives you that third charge, and you can easily use grenade launcher to finish them off from there. Make sure you're bringing your pocket shotty and stun grenades because we have a grenade launcher, so you don't need the pistol or impact grenades or anything like that. Now, this might be a hot take because there's a ton of people enjoying grenade launcher lately, but I do think it's right below the autocannon. They are very, they're pretty much side grades, to be honest, because it's a bit of a trade-off of what you want to do. But I just, my tier is called Bile Spewer, Spore, and Bug Hole, and the autocannon does all three of these things. Well, again, the grenade launcher only does two of these things. But that doesn't really mean it's any weaker. Honestly, they're more side grades than anything. Now, on to everybody's favorite javelin. Well, actually, it's the only javelin in the game, the spear, which used to be the blue cheese of the Helldivers community. Pretty gross, let's be real. But for some people, it was an acquired taste. You know, for those kinds of people who like subjecting themselves to pain. But finally, with the targeting fleshed out and some practice of lining up bile titans straight on, you can straight up one-shot them with the spear. The spear feels great. Make sure to pair this with something insane for mobbing like cluster bombs. Now, one stratagem we are not gonna mention anywhere else in this video, which I think pairs amazingly with the spear, is actually the HMG emplacement. The HMG emplacement will take out insane amounts of mobs. It will kill bile spewers. It will also kill shrieker nests. And what's cool about the HMG emplacement with the spear is that you hop on when you want to kill mobs. If a charger or a bile titan's running at you, just hop right off and spear them because you can straight up one-shot them. It is an effective combo for bugs and also for bots for that matter. The spear and the HMG emplacement works really well against bots too. And in that last stratagem slot, I just brought the orbital Gatling barrage for more mobbing, but also you could stun chargers and get them trapped in there and kill them with it too. The spear is our first gun in the anti-tank tier, and you will see that it ends up near the top by the end of this list. It's honestly insanely strong, but it's also very ammo hungry, so make sure to hog those resupplies. And as long as you kill every bile titan for your team, they may not mind you hogging them. So next we've got the anti-material rifle. Now, honestly, the anti-material rifle is definitely more of a bot weapon. I don't think anyone's gonna disagree with that, but I do think it is viable against bugs. Now, it's definitely on the cusp. So with my build, I bring the expendable anti-tanks just because I also bring the jetpack. And I don't know, I just like juggling support weapons with the jetpack. It's pretty fun. And also the jetpack is just the best way to play with the anti-material rifle because you can get yourself to high ground and then you can snipe off bugs from a safer distance. and even sometimes try to shut down bug breaches from happening. And in our last stratagem slot, I just decided to bring cluster bombs this game because it is the king of killing trash mobs. Now, you probably want to pair the anti-material rifle with something like the Breaker Incendiary, because that's also great for killing trash mobs, and then the AMR can take out medium enemies and bile spewers especially. And you might think this is a weird combo, but I actually bring the grenade pistol alongside impact grenade. Between all these grenades we're bringing, it helps us kill chargers, which the AMR is not horrible at killing chargers, but it's definitely not the best. And I just like to run a lot of explosives when I'm running the AMR just because it gives us more firepower. Now, another thing about the AMR is it does have enough armor pen to take out spore towers. So definitely keep that in mind because it's a sniper and you can snipe them from across the map. Now, one thing I will say is this is gonna go at the bottom of the bile spewer utility tier because like I said, it technically is viable, but you definitely prefer this on bile spewer maps because it one-taps them to the head. And it's worth mentioning in the footage in the background, I actually got this on a hunter map. There were just tons of hunters everywhere, and I just found myself with the Firebreaker in my hands way more often than I did with the AMR. So when you get a bunch of hunters on your missions, it feels less viable just because you're not using it as much. And honestly, I think it's on the cusp. It's definitely not the best bug weapon, but I don't think it's as bad against bugs as everybody says it is. All right, so time for the laser cannon, another bot weapon, but this time it actually really is just keeping it with the bots. Now this is going into the trash tier, but I'm gonna rename this to trash, but really fun. So with the laser cannon, the thing about it is it has no stagger. Now the reason that the laser cannon is amazing against bots is because they aren't rushing you down within melee range all the time, and there's less bots in general than there are bugs. They're at a longer distance where you can use cover, and if you use it properly, the laser cannon can put in mad work. It does do amazing damage, it has good armor pen, but against bugs, it just doesn't hit as hard when you have any amount of hunters nearby. With that being said though, I renamed this tier to trash but really fun for a reason. If you can convince your 3 other squad mates to laser max with you, bring full laser loadouts, I'm talking the scythe, I'm talking the dagger, I'm talking the laser buddy backpack, I'm talking the orbital laser and the laser cannon, 5 lasers, cross the beams. It's honestly hilarious and a great time. If this were just a straight up like for fun tier list, laser cannon would be near the top. So bring this gun strictly for laser maxing memes, and since this game is PvE, I think everyone should be forced to do this at least once with no expectation of winning. But you can still make it work if you're a veteran Helldiver, and you can still win games if everybody's laser maxing. It's just that it's really, you know, if we're talking a tier list and, you know, the most optimal thing, it's really not the best thing ever. You know, if you're trying to farm samples and extract, definitely leave the laser cannon on the bot side of the galaxy. All right, so for the next support weapon that everybody who shows up to my streams knows I'm a huge simp for, this is my favorite support weapon in the game. I am absolutely biased and calling this the king of the anti-tank weapons, the Recoilless Rifle. Now the Recoilless Rifle has more ammo than the spear, so I think it's more effective at dealing with large swarms of chargers, but it also packs a big enough punch to take out Bile Titans. Now if you know about the movement tech, you can actually dive and one-shot a Bile Titan back armor off. On top of that, you can use 1 rocket to the head of a Bile Titan and 1 Eagle strafing run, both targeted at the head of a Bile Titan, which helps you be more ammo efficient. If you are like really practiced with the Recoilless Rifle, I truly believe that it packs the most anti-tank punch compared to any other anti-tank in the game against bugs. So yes, we are bringing Eagle Strafing Run. We're also bringing Orbital Gatling Barrage. I love pairing these 2 stratagems together since they're good against heavies. They both pepper heavies, and with something like a Recoilless Rifle, you could finish those heavies off after just 1 charge. But they are also pretty good for mobbing. The Gatling Barrage just has so much uptime. It's great against breaches and swarms and stuff like that. But again, it also peppers those heavies to be able to finish them off. But it's less controlled than the strafing run. You're mainly pairing the Recoilless with the strafing run to take out Bile Titans at least. Now for the last stratagem, I always like to bring a sentry. In the background footage, I was using the Autocannon sentry, but that's because I've played with the Recoilless Rifle so much, I was testing out the Autocannon sentry. I do think in this build specifically that either the Gatling sentry or even the regular machine gun sentry are better options since they won't explode when bugs get too close. The main reason for bringing a sentry is it is our pseudo laser buddy backpack, but the benefit is that they draw aggro towards them because enemies will often focus your sentries before they focus you. This can help you get reloads off with your recoilless rifle. And that's actually one reason the regular machine gun sentry is good, because it has a lower cooldown, so you can throw it more often and take some of the heat off of you. Now, I honestly run impact grenades a lot with the recoilless, but because I do just like extra grenades. But honestly, I'm gonna have to recommend stun grenades. 2 reasons: because it helps with the reload for those of you who haven't played with this gun a lot, so you aren't used to kiting enemies and getting the 2-stage reload off. But you can also stun chargers to keep them from mowing down your turret. And then obviously bring the grenade pistol if you choose the stun grenades. This is seriously the king of anti-tanks once you get some practice with this support weapon. It's definitely not the easiest to use, but honestly, it's not that it's hard, it just takes some getting used to. All right, so for our other trash tier weapon, and don't worry, this is the last one, it is the cluster bomb at home. Everybody's favorite, the Airburst rocket launcher. This bad boy has got a 7 freaking second long reload time that you are completely stationary for. If it gets canceled at all, at any moment, you have to do the entire reload animation from the start. On top of that, with the bugs advancing towards you, there are very few moments that you can safely fire one of these off because the proximity sensor will definitely set off way too close. Now listen, for you Airburst lovers out there who are gonna tell me skill issue, which apparently there's a lot of you guys, we tried this launcher so many times to make it work, we honestly gave it a fair shot. And I'll admit, every time I blew up the whole squad, we all laughed about it, and again, it was really fun. I am not a hater of fun. I will bring the Airburst launcher again against bugs in the future, just to meme around, don't get me wrong. We even did games where we focused completely on team reloading, like literally my friend was wearing my backpack, I was wearing a supply pack, specifically to just keep the team loading going. But I just truly think this is a horrendous support weapon. I honestly don't have a great loadout with it. Now, I don't know, I'll just give you guys one. This is the one I was running in the background footage. Precision Strike for Bile Titans, alongside a Rocket Sentry, Orbital Gatling Barrage for the mobbing, and the low cooldown. And I ran this again with the Blitzer, Grenade Pistol, and Stuns. This one is firmly at the bottom of trash tier, in my opinion. Now, finally for the Quasar Cannon. Now, this rocket launcher fires way less shots than the Recoilless Rifle, but it has the comfort of not needing to reload. You can just swap to your primary, wait for the cooldown, and shoot it again. And we also get a backpack slot. Now, I have obviously been on a Blitzer kick for this video. I used it in many of the builds, but for this one specifically, I had a reason. The Quasar has infinite ammo, but the Blitzer has infinite ammo as well. And with our Laser Buddy drone backpack, this makes it so that 3 of our tools use no ammo at all, and it's a pretty fun loadout. Now, I chose to also run this with cluster bombs because we were doing the geological survey and mass amounts of mobs spawn from everywhere. So 5 charges of freaking cluster bombs, which just takes out all the trash and bug breaches, felt like a great option. And I was again running this with the Gatling Barrage because it's good for mobbing, peppers heavies, and then the grenade pistol and stuns just felt right in this loadout as well. With that being said though, the Quasar is going at the bottom of the anti-tank tier. I do feel like this is easier to use than something like the Spear or the Recoilless, but once you get practice on these different weapons, I do think Quasar is at the bottom right now. All right, so I got all this footage before the Commando came out. Now, the Commando and the EAT, you can see I tossed the EAT under the Spear. The Commando, I think, is a little bit better than the EAT, or maybe I just prefer it a bit more because once I pick this up, I don't have to run around and get the EAT. Personally, I think the Commando and the EAT are expendables. I usually don't try to build around them. Instead, or you could just bring them both, Commando and EAT, but instead I'll usually pair these in different builds that I need something to kill Bile Titans with. Like I mentioned the Precision Strike a bunch of times as our anti-Bile Titan stratagem, but we all know Orbital Scatter exists, and that's the perfect time to bring EAT or Commando. So let me know what you think of my tier list, and I truly think there are only 3 bad support weapons against bugs, and the AMR being bad on hunter maps, but it honestly is good on Bile Spewer maps. So 3 bad support weapons against bugs. We could call it 4 if you want to. Let me know what you guys think. Is there a gun here that you just think is truly trash that I honestly think is viable? And at the end of the day, I was running these in viewer games when I was streaming, and we got the job done every single time. So let me know what you think of this tier list. Also, let me know how you would change my loadout for your favorite support weapon. And I honestly urge you guys to try one of these other support weapons that you don't normally play with my loadout. And I guarantee once you get a couple games on it and get used to it and figure out what everything in the build is for, you might honestly think it's good. It could become your favorite support weapon. Also, be sure to use my link and check out Manscaped for 20% off. Everything's in the description down below. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out.